You became a father the day you said, "I do." Not a father to a child, a father to your wife. Let that sink in for a moment, because most men never hear this truth, and it costs them their marriage. You were taught that leaving your father and mother meant starting your own house. You were taught that cleaving to your wife meant sharing a bed, sharing a name, sharing a future. But nobody sat you down and told you the deeper reason God gave that command in Genesis 2:24. Nobody told you that when a woman walks down that aisle, she is not just gaining a husband, she is exchanging fathers. Think about that word, exchange. It means something is being handed over. On her wedding day, her biological father walks her down the aisle, places her hand in yours, and in that sacred transfer, something spiritual happens that most men are too distracted to notice. He is not just giving you his daughter. He is handing you his assignment, the assignment of being her source, her nourisher, her sustainer, her protector, her provider. You see, God designed woman as a gentle being, a being wired to depend, to lean, to be covered. From the moment she takes her first breath, she looks to a father for identity, for safety, for validation. And when she cannot continue living under her biological father's roof, God did not leave her stranded. He ordained a transfer, a holy handoff. And you, husband, are the one standing on the receiving end of that handoff, whether you realized it or not. This is why so many marriages are silently starving. Not because love is missing, but because fathering is missing. You can love your wife with flowers and affection and still leave her spiritually orphaned if you never step into the role God actually anointed you for. Priest, yes. Father, yes. Not just to your children one day, but to her, starting now. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. Does your wife feel nourished when she is around you, or does she feel like she is fending for herself? Does she feel sustained, like there is a foundation under her feet? Or does she feel like she is free-falling and catching herself every single day? Does she feel protected, provided for, established? Or does she feel like a grown woman raising herself inside her own marriage? This is not about control. This is not about treating her like a child. This is about covering. A father covers. A father sustains. A father does not walk away when things get heavy. He becomes the foundation others can stand on. Before you scroll away from this video, ask God one question. Have I truly stepped into the fathering role you anointed me for, or have I only shown up as a husband? Sit with that question, because what comes next in this journey will change the way you see your marriage forever. Let's go back to the garden for a moment, because everything about your role was written there before sin ever entered the picture. God formed the woman not from the man's head, to rule over her, and not from his feet, to be trampled by her, but from his rib, to stand beside him, close to his heart, under his arm. That positioning was never accidental. It was prophetic. It was God's blueprint for what you would become to her. A rib protects the vital organs. Think about that. Before she was ever formed, her covering was already built into the design. So when God says a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, he was not simply describing a change of address. He was describing a transfer of covering, a transfer of protection, a transfer of provision from one house to another, from her father's house to yours. This is why a woman cannot thrive in a marriage where the husband refuses to father her. She was not created to fend for herself emotionally, spiritually, or spiritually. She was created to be nourished. And when that nourishment is absent, she does not simply feel neglected. She feels fatherless all over again, even though she is a grown woman with a husband sleeping right beside her. Picture a plant. A plant does not ask for much. It asks for soil, water, sunlight, and time. Deprive it of even one of those, and it does not die loudly. It withers quietly, slowly, until one day you look and wonder what happened. That is what happens to a woman whose husband forgets he was called to be her source. She does not announce her withering. She simply fades, a little more, every single day, until the woman you married feels like a stranger sitting across the table from you. Now think about what it means to be a source. A river does not beg the ocean for water. It flows because it is connected to a spring. If you are her source, she should not have to beg you for attention, for security, for reassurance. It should flow from you, naturally, consistently, because that is who you were designed to be to her. And this is where so many men get it wrong. They provide financially and believe the job is done. But being a father to your wife is not just about paying bills. It is about being present when she is afraid. It is about speaking life when she doubts herself. It is about standing as her shelter when the storms of life come knocking. Providing without presence is just a paycheck. It is not fathering. So here is the question worth sitting with. If your wife had to describe the shelter she feels in this marriage, would she call it a mansion, or would she call it a tent with holes, letting in every storm that passes by? Because whatever she calls it, that is the house you have actually built. Now let's bring this all together, because knowing the truth means nothing if it does not change how you show up tomorrow morning. You have been anointed for 7 things: a source, a nourisher, a sustainer, a supporter, a founder, a protector, a provider. These are not just titles. These are daily assignments, and each one answers a question your wife is silently asking, whether she says it out loud or not. As a source, she is asking, where do I draw my strength from when mine runs out? As a nourisher, she is asking, who feeds my soul when the world starves it? As a sustainer, she is asking, who holds me together when I feel like I am falling apart? As a supporter, she is asking, who believes in me when I stop believing in myself? As a founder, she is asking, who lays a foundation solid enough for me to build my dreams on? As a protector, she is asking, who shields me when I cannot shield myself? And as a provider, she is asking, who ensures I never have to fight for survival alone? Every day you fail to answer these questions is a day she quietly wonders if the exchange on her wedding day was ever completed. Did her father truly hand her over to someone who would carry the weight, or did he hand her over to someone who would only wear the title? Here is the good news. It is not too late to become who you were called to be. Fathering your wife does not require perfection, it requires intention. It starts with small, consistent decisions. Choosing to speak life over her instead of criticism. Choosing to be present in her fears instead of dismissing them. Choosing to cover her with prayer, not just provide for her with a paycheck. Choosing to remind her again and again that she is safe with you, seen by you, and sustained by you. Remember Romans 5:8, where God demonstrated his love by stepping in while we were still unworthy. That is your model. Not fathering her because she earns it, but fathering her because you were called to it, the same way God the Father loves unconditionally. Remember Colossians 3:19, which tells husbands to love their wives and not be harsh with them. Harshness breaks the very foundation you were meant to build. Gentleness establishes it. So today, make a decision. Decide that from this moment forward, you will not just be her husband. You will be the father she exchanged vows for. The one who nourishes, sustains, protects, and provides, not because it is convenient, but because it is holy work, sacred work, work that God himself anointed you for. If this truth moved something in you, do not let it end here. Speak to her tonight. Tell her you see her, you cover her, and you are finally stepping fully into the role God always intended for you. Because a woman who knows she is truly fathered by her husband will never wither in that marriage. She will bloom again and again for the rest of her life.